Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today is a beginner's tutorial on how to blend eyeshadows like a pro. So if you would like to know how to hold your blending brush in order to get a seamlessly beautiful blended eyeshadow, or you just want to recreate the eye look that I've created today, then please keep watching. Okay, so first things first, today was supposed to be a foundation review. I've had a foundation in my drawer for such a long time. I am really late doing this review, but I've been dying to trial it out for you on camera. On Saturday I had microneedling and it sent my skin a little bit dry, which is a completely normal side effect and I always get that. So I've decided I'm not going to do that review for you today because it would be unfair of me to trial out a foundation when my skin isn't exactly how it would normally be. So I'm moving that aside. I will do that for you later on in the week when my skin is completely healed. By the way, microneedling is the best treatment ever if it's done properly. It's absolutely fantastic for boosting any anti-aging serums that you've got and also to reduce the acne scarring on your face. Absolutely amazed at how well this microneedling is actually done reducing my acne scarring. So if you want me to post the video of me doing microneedling, then please let me know below and I will post that video for you and give you step-by-step instructions on how to do your own microneedling at home. Okay, so back to eyeshadow blending. Back in the day, we all used to put our eyeshadows on with one of these little bad boys. These used to come with every single individual eyeshadow that you used to buy in the store. Not going to use this today. If you still use these and the end result is absolutely beautiful, then by all means carry on using them. There's nothing wrong with these whatsoever. I think they've been victimized slightly. Poor little thing. But I'm not going to use these today. We're going to use brushes and fingers today. Okay, so first things first, you've got to prime your eyelids and set them in place so that your eyeshadow doesn't stick. As normal, I'm going to use the Benefit Air Patrol. This is really nice. It's a BB cream and it just makes sure everything's the same colour and is primed really beautifully. This also makes your eyeshadows look a little bit more vivid, in my opinion. Now, usually I obviously wouldn't have mascara and sometimes I wouldn't even apply my foundation if I'm wearing a really dark colour on my eyes, because if you get any fallout from your eyeshadows, at least then you can clean up and then apply your foundation afterwards. I've just done the school run and I've just got back, so we're going to film this tutorial as is. So once you've applied your eyelid primer, by the way, you don't need to go out and buy a really expensive eyelid primer. If you've got a high coverage concealer, that will do. So I'm just going to set this in place to make sure none of my eyeshadow sticks to any damp areas. Just using any old powder for this. This is my RCMA powder and I'm just going to fluff that on with a little brush. Just make sure everything's set in place. This is a really, really important step. If you decide not to use an eyelid primer, that is completely okay. It's just sometimes you'll be able to see any pigmentation or any veins that you have in your eyelids through the actual eyeshadow itself. So that's why I prime my eyelids. So I'm going to use eyeshadows from one palette and one palette alone. I know it's really, really annoying when beauty vloggers do an eye look and they use eyeshadows from about 10 different palettes and you total it up in your head and think, it's about £200 worth of eyeshadows there and I cannot afford to go out and buy those. The palette I'm going to be using today is the Morphe 15N palette. This costs £15 in the UK and it has a beautiful little mirror there and also all these fabulous colours which are absolutely beautiful and suit more or less every single eye colour out there. Okay, so the brushes I'm going to be using today, there are only 3 of them. You don't need 3 blending brushes. The most important brush that I'm going to be using today is the Morphe E23 brush. This is a really, really fluffy and it's really, really big blending brush. These you can get these from so many different places, maybe MAC, Real Techniques. They all do their own version of the really big fluffy blending brush. Then I've got a more medium blending brush. This is the 228 Luxe Crease brush by Zoeva. And then I've got a very small blending brush as well. Like I said, you do not need all those 3 blending brushes. The most important one is the big fluffy one. Okay, so let's get going. So you want to take the lightest shade that you're going to be using first. I'm going to be using the shade Custom. You wouldn't think this is really important, but it is. How you hold your actual brush is really important. Now, the fluffy blending brush is for that purpose. It's for blending. It's not supposed to be precise. You want to hold it with 3 fingers and you want to hold it more or less at the end of the brush. So you dip that in your product using the lightest hand, and you're just going to small circular movements, pop that on, and you're just going to pop that right in the crease. Just shut your eye and just go along the crease line. Just going to rub that on my hand like that, just to get rid of any excess product. And I'm going to go into, what am I going to go into? Here we go. And I'm going to go into the colour Selfie, which is a really nice burnt orange. These Morphe shadows are really pigmented and really easy to blend. I'm just going to pop that just in the outer V. Just pop that on using patting motions. Rub the rest off on your hand. And then again, with a very, very light hand, holding it at the end of your brush, just light circular movements just to blend that in. Okay, this is where I use my smaller blending brush. I'm going to dip into the colour Cliché, which is gorgeous. And again, on the tip, but a little bit further in. Just make patting motions again to put that colour in place. Rub the excess off on your hand. And then small circular movements again, just to blend that in. Okay, the smaller the brush and the more precise you need to be, the lower down the brush you need to hold it. So when you're blending, you hold it right at the end and with only 3 fingers. When you're doing precise work, you can hold it like a pencil with your fingers right down at the end, because you do need to be precise and the line needs to be harsher. Finally, for the crease colours, I'm going to go into this colour here, which is called Scene. I'm going to go in with a much smaller blending brush and I'm going to hold it a lot further down the brush because this needs to be more precise. Tap off the excess and go in, pat that colour on the lid just with patting motions. Wipe off the excess and then further down the brush, small circular movements to blend that in place. Right at the very end, just to make sure that everything is blended beautifully, I again take my big fluffy blending brush. Again, this is the Morphe E23 brush. I'm going to hold it right at the end and I'm just going to go along all the different colours that I've put on and just make sure that they are seamlessly blended together and there are no harsh edges. So I'm going to go on and do underneath my eye. You can leave this if you don't want any colour underneath your eye, that is completely up to you. I'm going to go in with the lightest shade that we had, which is called Custom. I'm going to go from the corner, I'm going to go all the way to the tear duct. Then I'm going to take the colour Selfie, which we went into second, have a little bit on the same brush, tap off the excess and just go in the outer half. Then I'm going to go into Cliché and do the outer third. And then finally, I'm going to go into Scene and just do the outer quarter. So now you've got a nice gradient in using all the colours that you've used on your upper lid. To finish off the shadow, I'm going to put a lovely shimmer shade on the lid, missing out all the shadow that we've just created, and that is going to be the shade Unique, which is a really beautiful colour. A lot of people would use a flat brush for this to pack the colour on the lid. I prefer to use the finger because I think if you use a brush for this stage, you do tend to get a lot of fallout and you don't get as vibrant colour on the lid as if you were to use a little finger or one of your other fingers. So I'm just going to take my little finger and rub it in the colour, and I'm just going to place it where I want it, so it's more to the corners and centre of the eye. You do need to make sure at this point that you don't have any oils or moisture on your hand when you're dipping it in the palette. It will make the eyeshadow go a little bit stiffer and it will be very hard to pick up in the future. But you can build that up as much as you like until you get what you're looking for. I'm just going to take the smallest brush and hold it quite close to the end because this is quite a precise bit, and just make sure that the colours are blended together. And right at the end, fluffy blending brush time, very light hand, hold it at the end, just sweep windscreen wiper movements just all over, just to make sure that everything is blended in beautifully. And you are done. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There is a watermark in this corner. If you click on it, it will take you through to my homepage where you can subscribe. Hope to see you all again soon. Bye.